Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Lisa here in Tampa, Florida, connecting to you during this COVID-19 pandemic, bringing thoughtful ideas, trying to connect the science, and have you get some actionable steps as we move forward. Hopefully getting better and better as the number of cases presenting and severity seems to be stabilizing a bit in this country, thankfully. Today I wanted to discuss something I found very interesting about how this virus has played out, which is the fact that we thought at the beginning that it was a primary respiratory issue. And as it has unfolded, we have found more and more aspects of the human body and systems that it seems to be impacting, which is why I think it's been so tough to treat in people, because it's presenting differently in different patients. And one of the things that blew me away more recently is the impact it can have on the brain. And I don't want to go into too much detail on this video in terms of the depth of severity it can have on brain function, because they are seeing some pretty crazy things where people are coming out of the hospital with cognitive dysfunction and having trouble with basic tasks, and we don't know yet how much of that is reversible. I am always in a positive mindset of everything is healable in this human body that we have been gifted. But the part that I found so fascinating is that it's numerous organs. So if you take a look at a lot of the research that's coming out, and there's more coming out every day, this virus seems to be, or this disease of COVID-19 seems to be infecting the brain, the lungs, obviously, because that's what we've heard the most about, the gut. And remember at the beginning, we would say this is not like your typical flu. There's not GI symptomatology. And now there seems to be a lot more people presenting with gut symptoms. There can be skin involvement, like rashes that are popping up now that can be fairly telltale signs of COVID-19. The liver, we've talked about that on one of my lives, and if you missed it, I'm trying to put all of these onto YouTube so that you can access any of the topics that interest you. But the liver can definitely be involved, and interestingly enough, most of these organs, so I'd say the main ones we're seeing symptoms and severity with are lungs, brain, the gut, the heart, and the liver. So those organs, what they have in common is they all seem to have their own immune system inside the organ. So they're named different things, like the liver calls it Kupffer cells, and the brain has this glymphatic system and microglia. So it's a bunch of crazy fancy words that just mean that these organs are very tuned in from an immune system standpoint. So it's probably impacting those organs more than others because of their response from an immunological standpoint. The other thing we don't understand is why one person may have severe cardiovascular effects from this virus, while the next person may have a rash and diarrhea, and then the next person, or let's say 80%, doesn't even know they have it. So that's what I wanted to talk about in terms of something you can work on today for yourself, which is, it seems like the scientists are pontificating and guessing that maybe this is setting up shop in whatever organ is a little bit more weak, a little bit more inflamed, a little bit more susceptible basically to disease. So if we tap in and we take a look at our own bodies, and most of us don't do this enough, run through these 5 organs that I just mentioned. So let's take your lungs, for example. Do you always get that terrible cough when the next person, when you're around somebody who's sick? Do you get allergies where you're wheezing a lot? Maybe your lungs are your kind of, I don't like to say weaker, I don't like that word, but maybe that's the organ system that needs a little more love. Do you have cardiovascular history like me? Like, have you had any cardiac issues, blood pressure, heart failure, other issues, arrhythmias? Do you get palpitations a lot? Maybe it's your heart. Liver-wise, do you drink a little bit too much alcohol, especially during this pandemic? Have you had elevated liver enzymes? Your brain, are you having brain fog, which a lot of us do? Do you have trouble finding words? So take a look at yourself. Maybe bring up some of these ideas and questions with your practitioner, or you can leave me a message below this video. And if you can identify a potential less than stellar functioning organ, we're gonna send it some extra love. So let's say, let me give you a tool. If it's your lungs, we've talked about some breathing exercises that you guys can start right away. If it's your heart, maybe you need a little bit more cardiovascular exercise. You need to work up slowly. Maybe you should think about taking some coenzyme Q10. If it's your brain, maybe some memory exercises if you find that your memory is not as quick as it used to be. Do some Sudoku. Make sure you stay hydrated. That's true for all organs, but the brain really needs hydration and it needs good fats. So maybe you can tweak your diet a little bit more to bring in some of those things that the brain will allow the brain signals and the neurons to communicate more efficiently. I hope this idea and concept is helpful. I think that there are many ways we can be proactive in going after whatever organ needs the most love. So I'm going to end today with an affirmation. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. Again, I really am enjoying being able to share some of my insight, my spiritual connections to fighting disease, my medical experiences on the front lines. And the way we're going to end today is I embrace my body's healing capacity and send love to whatever organ needs it the most. I embrace my body's healing capacity and send love to whatever organ needs it the most. Take care. You guys have a wonderful day. Do something great. Do something that makes you feel loved. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.